Welcome to You Bet Smart podcast. As you can see, Scott isn't here today. Unfortunately, Scott has been suspended from the program for sexually harassing his coworker. Jake, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, we're still gotta report some news about this subject. Yeah, this is the first time hearing about it too.
Well, you're the only coworker, so he would have had to been sexually harassing you.
Yeah, maybe I won't be pressing charges. I don't know.
I guess maybe me, but I'm not paid yet, so I'm not a coworker. I'd be an intern. Just joking. Scott actually had to tend to some family things today. Nothing serious, just so scheduling things. So he'll be back next week. And for today, you guys are stuck with me hosting, and Jake will be along for the ride to try to help me work through when I get stuck on some stuff. So how's your weekend been, Jake?
Oh, it's going great, Chris. I'm glad you asked. It's just been really relaxing and getting all the sun I can. But how's your day, Chris?
Oh, it's been great. I took a walk around the lake over here with the dogs and my wife. So it's been a nice little weekend.
Nice. I'm glad to hear it.
I want to talk about the Live PGA merger. I don't really have a lot to say about the specifics of it. I'm more concerned with all the people. One, for example, would be Brandel Chambly. He's a commentator on the golf channel who is saying this is blood money that all these guys were taking when they went to Live and blah, 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 blah. Well, now he'll be taking that blood money unless he leaves the golf channel. So I'm curious to see a lot of these guys. He was one of the more vocal guys. I didn't hear a lot of guys on the tour talk about it too much because I think they knew one day they would have to maybe take the money in one way or another. So I'm just curious what you think of the people that said that this is blood money. They should have to quit their jobs now, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I'm interested. I don't follow a whole lot of golf, but I started watching the Netflix. I forgot what it's called, the golf documentary on there.
Yeah,
and they're going over the Live merger, and I know that at first they didn't even really want to recognize Live, and anybody that would leave to go to Live, they were like banned from coming back to PGA. So I'm kind of shocked on the about face so quickly, but I guess money talks. It sounds like the PGA Tour says it couldn't afford to keep battling the Saudi Arabia or whatever. They got billions, if not trillions of dollars with that oil money, and it didn't sound like they could keep up the fight for too long. So he just decided to merge. So kind of shocking.
Because I have been reading a little bit about this. I didn't know that there. So you have the PGA Tour, right? I just assumed like all those tournaments they played in were under the PGA Tour's umbrella, and that's not the case. Really? That's why some of the tournaments Live players are allowed to play in, some weren't. It kind of reminds me of boxing, how they have all these different, what are they called? Like federations, or I think that's what they're called, where, everyone's not under one umbrella, which I think is terrible for a sport. You need to have a governing body that's regulating everything over everyone, or something like this happens and Live comes along and just has the money to blow you out of the water because you're not paying. I mean, the golfers make a lot of money, but they should probably make more. The sport earns a lot of money. In the NBA or the NFL, those guys are paid so much money, even if you're just a nobody. You're a 12th man on the bench in the NBA, you're making like $3 million a year. If you're on the PGA Tour and you're one of the top 100 players, I mean, I doubt you even make $1 million a year if you're like the 100th player in the world. So,
yeah, it's pretty fascinating. So the commissioner said we cannot compete with a foreign government with unlimited money. That's a pretty interesting quote.
And they do have it's the what is they call it, I think the sovereign wealth fund is what the Saudis use. It's all oil money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Supposedly the Saudis aren't going to have a say over what goes on. The PGA will, like as in terms of advertisement and stuff like that. But if you're spending that kind of money, you would think hands in there and kind of get some of the things that they want.
You would think so. Yeah, I just saw that the Saudi Public Investment Fund, a $600 billion sovereign wealth fund chaired by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So, yeah, definitely going to shake up the golf industry a little bit.
Yeah, I think I knew that when I heard that PGA was changing some of the rules to kind of match live, or thinking about changing some of the rules, that I thought then that's the live had them by the balls. Like they knew what they were doing was, I don't think that many people watch live though, which is weird, but they were getting all the publicity from it and kind of taking that from the PGA. And then the last tournament, Koepka won, I believe, and he was a live guy, and that kind of just screwed everything. It was a tournament with all the players that they played in them. This is when we need Scott here because he's more of the golf guy, but
yeah, we're talking about his sport right now.
Yeah, but I know the basics of it, and I understand the battle, like how to win a battle. Read like The Art of War, and it was a war that they were in. And when the PGA started wanting to change the rules to match what live was doing, I was like, oh, it's done. Like live is won now.
I briefly remember the rule change stuff, but maybe you could bring it up again. I forgot.
They were going to get rid of the cut, so there's no more cut day. Was one of the main ones. I believe they were gonna, because the live had everyone tee off at the same time instead of staggered tee times. I think they were thinking about doing that too. There were a couple other ones, but I think the main one was no one's missed the cut. All right, just me here. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's a done deal now. It's live won.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, pretty interesting. I'd love to hear Scott's take on it when he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, good topic. Very interesting. You want to go over the bankrolls next?
Yeah, let's go over the bankroll. Sorry, my screen just went all weird. Yeah, let's go over the bankrolls.
Okay, so we're both up nearly 50% on our bankroll. My account's up around 5,700. Scott's is around 4,700. We've been flatlined for a minute. 10,400 profit so far combined. Today, I started out 5-0, so I'm hoping to win the last two and make it a clean sweep. But yeah, I don't know. Not a whole lot to report. We've been kind of flatlined for a little while, and that's part of sports betting too. Sometimes for like months you're barely moving at all, and then all of a sudden out of the blue you have a good day or two, and so I don't know. It's all part of the process.
Yeah, I've actually been doing really well. I'm up like 25% in the last like 3 weeks. Basically, just not taking any bets that the line is off more than like, if it's more than like 5, I'm lowering the bet, and that seems to be working. It could just be kind of the bets that I'm taking are just they're getting lucky that they're winning, because I don't think you guys are up that much in the last 3 weeks or so, but yeah, that's what I've been doing, paying more attention to lines instead of just betting them. Because we talked about before, when I started with you guys, you're so hot that it was like, fuck it, if I'm losing 30 points on a bet, it doesn't really matter in the long run. And then the cold streak comes, and that's when that shit matters.
Yeah, so true. Because that's when you're really paying for it, is when you lose. You got to pay that extra juice. So.
Yeah, exactly. So
for sure. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know, we might as well jump into it now, because being really strict on the line is really important. And I know you brought it up, like how far off of the line is it, or should it be? And I still take the bet. Like you brought that up. I know our clients have brought that up. So I basically made a calculator that finds the break-even percentage of the line, and then I find within 1% of that line, 1% of that break even line. So like, let's say it's like a 50% win rate, then it'll convert the break even to what 51% would be. So it's basically 1% within the line we're recommending.
And that's when you're putting in parentheses when you put the bet out.
Yes, sir. So let's say, I'll give you a better example because that wasn't clear. So on a minus 150 bet, that would be a 60% win rate. So we're giving a little 1% tolerance on that. So instead of minus 150 is a 60%, so we're giving it up to 61%. So I'm basically converting that 61% back to a money line and saying that's the maximum that you should take for that favorite bet. And we also have a min line. So what's the minimum you should take for an underdog bet? And they're all within 1% tolerance of the recommended line. So that way people aren't guessing, because it's hard to know.
I think a suggestion would be to move those notes when you put out the bets to the top.
Okay.
Because I had someone reach out to me like, oh, the pitcher Ks aren't working for me. I think I'm just going to stop betting them. I was like, well, are you betting them? Are you getting the good lines on them? Because if not, don't bet them. He's like, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, it's in the parentheses in the bottom, but maybe we should move that to the top, because that's way when you see the bet, that's the first thing you read. See, so I think maybe we should move that to the top. Make it clear. Yeah, clear. So because also, if you don't read all the way to the bottom and you make all those bets and you get to the bottom and you're like, well, fuck, like am I supposed to read this whole thing down? So I think that should be moved to the top. Just a suggestion. I don't know what you guys think about that, but
I can see pros and cons. It might look a little ugly seeing it at the top, but at least it lets everybody know. So I don't know.
Yeah. And it's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you guys started adding those in, because it's helped me a lot.
It honestly helps me a lot. I thought about doing it for a long time. I just never got around to actually trying to figure out that formula. And I actually just did it with algebra. Just broke it down algebraically and figured out the conversion and then coded it. And now it's so simple. Like I know what the cutoff is and I don't have to guess. So when we're making our bets, like we're obviously doing the bookie sites now. So it makes it a lot easier for me. And so I know as for a customer, it's got to be easier to know where the cutoff is. And I've been really strict on the cutoff too. So if I'm saying the max line should be minus 150 or something, if it's minus 151, I haven't been taking it. And
really?
Yeah, because it's already within 1% tolerance. So I'm just being really strict right now. So, and it's honestly saved me a few bets. Luckily, my the handicapping site's doing pretty well. So to start.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, today I forgot about it and I was betting what you had in parentheses.
Okay.
So I'm glad to hear that they're 5-0 to start.
Oh, I know. Seriously.
I was taking while I was betting like in parentheses and then adding like lowering my bet if it gets more. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're off to a hot start.
I know. Yeah. Hopefully it continues.
I got all the way to the bottom and I was like, shit, I forgot that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's nice having that luxury, but I don't know. We'll definitely have to consider putting it at the top or talking about it more. I feel like it might look a little aesthetically, like, I don't know. I don't know that I'd like it at the top. Like,
yeah, but
it's also important to let the customers know.
Maybe put out like once a week, just a message that says, don't forget, the bets are in parentheses. That's the max line you should take it at.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
just remind people, and for new customers too that don't listen to the podcast or kind of aren't paying attention and just seeing and betting it, and send that out like once a week. Then
I think that's a great idea. I like it.
Yeah. So speaking of betting, you haven't been putting out any props for the NBA Finals. Is that normal?
No, honestly been so consumed with knocking out a spreadsheet for the client. So that's another topic I wanted to bring up. We might as well talk about it now. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to create an automated spreadsheet for everybody so they can track all their bets, and it'll give them it'll basically account for what their bankroll was the day before. And so when you go to place your bets the day of, every one of the stars that we recommend will be 1% of your 1% of your portfolio. And as your portfolio goes up or down, that 1% per star will fluctuate. So your bets will get bigger as your bank account is growing, and it'll get smaller as it's decreasing. And I'm just trying to make it as user friendly as possible. That way they don't have to think of anything. Like, you basically put in the odds and it converts what the payout is, and it recalibrates everything daily. That way people don't have to wonder what 1% of their bankroll is. It just does it all for them. So it'll just basically be a very simplified version of what Scott and I have now, with a little bit of tweaks to it. And then I want to give that to like you and Scott and Jason and even our close friends, and get feedback on it, make sure it's all working right, and then literally give it to every one of our clients, and then get feedback from them. And I would just look at it as like, this is version 1 or 1.0, let's say, and I can build on it a lot. I just want to get it out now. That way they have something to work on.
Yeah, that's great. If you're like, for me right now, I'm only using one account because of that shit that happened with Bovada with me. That's easy to keep track of, whether I'm like what I'm up and what I'm down. But if you have multiple accounts that you're betting on, I mean, even with 2, it was a little more difficult to keep track of what you're winning at, like which sports are winning, which ones aren't, all that. So that, what is it going to be broken down by sport too, or is it?
That's how ours. That's how our dashboard is right now. For the very beginning, like the 1.0, I think it's just going to be a spreadsheet just to track all their bets, and it'll record the profit loss, and it'll automatically do the 1%, and it'll adjust every day automatically, like I said. But then the whole dashboard, like we have, that'll be like a future upgrade.
Yeah.
Our dashboard, you basically could change the sport, you can change the stars, you can change the website, and everything automatically adjusts. So you can see how much you're making in each category. And I'd eventually like everybody to have that too, but I just want to, I don't know, basically release one step at a time. So start really simple, give them something, get some feedback, figure out how we can improve it, make sure it works and everything, and then I'll release the second version, hopefully not too far out.
That's awesome. Yeah, basically just have everyone beta test it.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, I look forward to showing you guys. I actually have the prototype pretty much done, so next time we get together, or I can show you after this if you want to. And
it's on Excel, right?
It's on Google Sheets, but the
Google Sheets
formulas would work on Excel the same. So
yeah, it's the same thing. Cool. Yeah, I look forward to that. Have you
watched
to answer
your question? Okay. To answer your question, it's not normal to not do the other sports. I was just between coding and doing picks, and then my side job, and then I want to give all my attention to the picks, and I don't want to half-ass it. So instead of just sending out picks that I can't thoroughly research, I was trying to knock the spreadsheet, the dashboard out, and then now I can go put my attention back onto all the sports. So
yeah, and don't forget, you got to make time to play NBA 2K.
Oh yeah, very important.
That's high up on the list. Well, I guess you haven't had time to watch the NBA finals at all, have you?
Not much. Very briefly, I did watch, I think, game 1 and game 2, at least half of those, and then I haven't caught the last 2. But so impressed with Jokic and the Nuggets. They're so fucking dominant. That guy is, I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah, I remember when we did that episode when I first started on the show and we talked about the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
We all kind of were in agreement that Denver's the best team, but we feel like they've been the best team, and the
Hmm.
playoffs come and something happens where they just don't perform. And this
Yeah.
year it's all kind of came together. I wish I would have thought about it a little bit more, that they've built something. It's not like these other teams that,
Yeah.
bring in a bunch of talent and it all, all works right away because they're bringing in superstars. They had to learn how to win in the playoffs. And
Hmm.
now that they're probably losing those, early in the playoffs has helped them a lot. And now they're just, yeah. Also, the Heat, it's just, they're very good, but they don't have enough talent to beat a team that's got talent and knows how to play. Miami beat Milwaukee basically without Giannis, and they beat Boston, who doesn't know how to play as a team. You watch them play, and it's a lot of ISO one-on-one with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and now they get to play Denver, who is just got the talent and
Hmm.
they know how to play. And Jokic is, man, he's so good. I've been watching a lot of people, like NBA players, talk about him. Some guy described him as like, he is really good, but he seems like he doesn't even like basketball. Like I think it was Isaiah Thomas. Like at half times of games, he'd go into his locker and he would start playing Clash of Clans on his phone. It was like a
No way.
stupid little game on his phone. But then,
That's funny.
when he's out there, you could tell he loves it. But I think he's just good at, when he's on the court, that's when it's time to turn it on. But when he's off the
Hmm.
court, kind of, take a break and occupy your mind with something else. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've watched like maybe 4 quarters total of the first 4 games. I kind of knew Denver was going to run away with this thing, and I wanted to watch. I was hoping that Miami won that last game, make it 2-2. Then I'd watch the last 3 games of the finals, but I just
Hmm.
kind of knew what was going to happen. And I've checked the score on my phone, and it feels like, it's never, the game aren't really in doubt. The last game, I felt like they were up by like 10 the whole game, and yeah, I just haven't had any interest in it. It was really weird. I used to love the NBA, and I still love basketball. I still think it's the best sport, but I don't get any enjoyment really watching it. Like, I used to watch every Laker game,
Yeah.
and part of that is that LeBron's there now, and I don't care for LeBron. But the NBA in general, I don't like the way it's played. And I don't see, when I hear Adam Silver talk about it, I don't hear him talking about making defense more of a, letting the defenders have more of a chance. It's not that guys don't try on defense or they're not good at defense. It's the rules that are in place. It makes it so it's virtually impossible to guard a guy like Jamal Murray. He could shoot threes and he could take it to the hoop.
Hmm.
Once he gets by you, you can't even like arm check him a little bit just to kind of get him off his rhythm.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see some of those rules come back and make it a little more fair for the defender, because a hand check really isn't a foul, but you can't even like put your hand on their hip just a little bit. They'll call that every single time. And so guys don't even do it at all. I think they should change that.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It just feels like they're losing a lot of customers, and I don't know what the fix is, but I think it has to do with all the scoring. I think there's too
Yeah.
much scoring.
Maybe that helps sell more tickets too. I don't know.
I think attendance and all that is down though.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
I I know it was right after the pandemic, and then it went up a little bit, but if anything, it's like flatlined, you
Okay.
know. So, and now I hear that they're probably going to do the expansion, which will probably be Seattle and Las Vegas getting a team,
Oh shit.
which may actually help because you're going to spread out the teams a little bit more. So you won't have that but there's only 2 more teams. I don't know. I think that's awesome for Seattle and Las Vegas. So
I fucking love like the more sports team that go to Vegas, the better, in my opinion. I've been wanting sports teams there since we were a kid, like in high school and shit. And then finally the Raiders go there, and that's like my rival team, so I can't root for them.
Yeah, remember we'd play Madden, and you would always move a team to Mexico City and call them the Chupacabras, or someone else would, but someone would always move a team to Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah, I never understood. Well, the rationale was like, oh, players are going to bet on sports, and it's like they can bet on sports wherever they want now, especially now. I think with the more legalized gambling coming is the reason that teams are going to Vegas, because they can't. You can do everything online. You can gamble online. So if people are going to bet, they're going to bet.
Yeah.
Being in Vegas isn't a big deal. I mean, there's nightlife there, but there's nightlife in Miami and Los Angeles too. And there's never been like, oh, we can't put a team in LA or we can't put a team in Miami. So
yeah, multiple athletes are getting caught gambling on sports too. And as that becomes more prevalent, I feel like they're going to have to consider legalizing it. At least if you're betting on your own team, not against your team.
Just, you can't bet in the sport that you play in. How about that? I mean, like, why does it matter if I'm an NBA player and I bet on baseball?
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point.
What is the reason I can't do that? I can go play blackjack in Vegas. Blackjack to basketball is the same as baseball. It's a different sport. It's not like because he's an NBA player that he's some MLB player is going to throw a game for him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm confused. I don't know.
So if Las Vegas gets a team, what should they call the team? An NBA team?
That's a good question. Maybe we could do a poll on it.
Okay, we'll do a poll on it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's got to be. They can't make it gambling related is a problem, but doesn't I think the WNBA team has a Las Vegas team, and they're called the Aces, and that's gambling related.
Okay.
So maybe you could. I don't know what you would call them. I mean, obviously Seattle's going to be the Supersonics again, which is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
I loved the Supersonics when I was a kid.
Nice.
But yeah, we should put a poll out. What if Las Vegas gets an NBA team? I don't think that sucks about those polls. If you don't make it yes or no, no one answers them.
Maybe we have to come up with a half dozen names or something to get them.
Okay. Yeah, we should get some names going. I'm literally blanking on one. I didn't even think of this when we were that we were going to talk about this. So I didn't think of any names, but yeah, I mean, the Gamblers would be an awesome team name, but there's no way they would let them be that.
Yeah, that's a good question. The Rounders? I don't know.
The Rounder? Oh, that's good. It's basketball. That'd be great. That is a good name. Las Vegas Rounders. And they play with a round ball. That's a perfect team name, but I don't think they'll let them have that one either.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have to come up with like a few different choices, our best ones, and see if anybody cares about one that stands out to them.
So you got Denver winning this then?
Yeah, it looks like it. I feel like Jokic is in another level. He's playing so slow and methodical and emotionless, and I feel like he's not nervous at all.
No. Have you seen his brothers?
I have not.
No, you should look it up afterwards. They're like two huge guys, and they look like gangsters. And he's from Serbia. I think he's probably seen some shit that, like, being in an NBA playoff finals game doesn't really make him nervous.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I worry about him in his future is he doesn't look like he takes care of his body very well. It's the same thing I think with Luka Doncic. Like, neither one of those guys play an athletic game, but that doesn't mean you can't just not be in shape.
Yeah.
I mean, look at like James Harden, same thing. Like, he doesn't play that athletic, and he's like broken down. He's not the player that he was because he never kept himself in shape. That's where I'm worried about both of them. But with Jokic, I don't think if he cares if he's out of the league in 3 years. It doesn't seem like he, win like 2 championships and he's out of the league and he's done.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but Doncic, I mean, he's got to get in shape because he's like 6'9" and he's physical as shit. And he's very similar to Jokic, just different position. But yeah, get in shape. Everybody get in shape.
Yeah, for real. Might do some push-ups after this podcast or something.
Yeah. I'm definitely not doing that. I did a walk today, so
Oh, there you go. You're good
yeah,
for
it
a
wasn't that
couple
long.
days now.
Well, one of my dogs can only make it like a mile. It's a Frenchie, so
Okay.
he's got about a mile. We took him on like a 5 mile uphill hike one time. This place called Patriots Hill or Patriot Point, and I had to carry him like 2.5 miles.
Oh,
And he's
shit.
like
Okay.
30 pounds. Yeah, it was not fun. So we can't take him on any more of those.
I could see that. Yeah, that would get heavy after a while.
Yeah. So did you have anything else you wanted to talk about? I have a couple news stories that I want to know if you've heard about them.
Maybe you could bring those up and then I'll go on to something else.
All right. So did you hear about those 2 Cleveland Browns players that had their car, they're robbed and had their car stolen at 3:30 a.m. in Cleveland?
Oh my God. What happened?
They were coming out. Yeah, obviously they were coming out of a club at 3:30 a.m. and yeah, they got gun pointed in their face and they got their vehicle stolen.
Did they find the people or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not. I don't know what I don't get that, man. Like, why are you out at 3:30 in the morning?
I don't know.
I mean, we both done it a bunch, but like that like do it in like Vegas or something. I don't or just in Cleveland. I'm not gonna be in downtown Cleveland. I've been to downtown Cleveland a bunch of times. Like, it's not a bad area if you're in like the good part, but yeah. Stay home. You don't need to be out that late.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
but I guess on the same night, another player on the team got his car stolen from his driveway.
Oh wow!
Another Brown player, yeah.
Damn, a Brown player too?
Yeah, Browns player. So the same night, those 2 guys got jacked, and then another guy got his car stolen.
Wow.
The Cleveland fans are brutal, man. They'll fucking rob you, like their own players. They don't give a fuck.
No joke, man. Yeah, interesting.
So the other thing I had was, have you heard of Baby Gronk?
I have not.
So he's this viral sensation. He's a kid. I think he's like 11 years old. So his dad is like, you know what a stage mom is?
It sounds familiar, but I don't.
So it's like if you have a kid actor, the mom's like pulling everything, like trying to get them the parts, like not letting the kid have like a real childhood. And basically that's how this kid's dad is. And I mean, he named his kid Madden. And
wow.
He the kid's, I mean, he's like 11 years old. He's really good at football, but you can't tell, he's just bigger and faster than all the other kids. I know a bunch of people that we went to school with that were, 6 foot at like 12 years old, and you see them now and I'm taller than them and I'm 6 foot. So they're like shrinking. Like but this kid's making like $100,000 a month just off of like endorsements and stuff. And he's doing all kinds of viral videos. The dad's got him on this gnarly diet, nutritional diet, but working out all the time. I don't know. I think it's a little much to treat your kid like a commodity like that. Basically, is how the dad's doing it.
Yeah, it's a little much. He has him lifting and doing diets and stuff. At how old?
Yeah, it's like 11 or 12, maybe 10. He might be like 10. I don't know. I don't want to read too much about it because I think it's kind of gross to me what the dad's doing. But I just thought it's really weird how people are with their kids. Like, some don't even pay attention to their kids, and then some do this with their kids where like, you're paying too much attention. Like, let them be a kid. Kid probably doesn't have any friends, doesn't go ride his bike with his friends. It's like, okay, you're getting up at 6 a.m. Here's your protein smoothie. And then we're going to go run. And then you're going to come back and you're going to take your nap. And then you're going to get up and you're going to lift. And then, we've got a commercial that you're shooting and we got to make some TikTok videos. Because the kid's like everywhere. You could tell that the dad is overworking him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to mess with him psychologically over time or not, but we'll see.
I would think it would.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you got anything else?
Yeah, just wanted to bring up UFC 290 coming up. 289 was last night. That was Nunes versus Aldana. Nunes smashed Aldana and then retired afterwards. So Amanda Nunes is no longer in the UFC apparently. And yeah, I wanted to talk about the up and coming fight July 8th, UFC 290. We'll have Parrish on again, maybe around the 1st or 2nd, depending on you and Scott's schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me just look up that card real quick. Pretty impressive.
I saw that she retired last night. I don't even know how old she is, but it seems like the smart thing to do in fighting is to quit before it's too late.
I think she's 35, so that's kind of old for an MMA fighter.
Yeah, quit when you're on top and before it's too late. I know with boxing, that's a huge issue, that these boxers go on for too long and then they're brain dead at like 55 and can't even form a sentence. I think UFC is a little bit different. UFC is, you don't take the concept. And my theory on boxing is why those guys are like that. It's not so much the in the boxing matches, it's the training. It's a constantly like, just tap to your head over 20 years, just constant tiny concussions, tiny, smacks to the head, but thousands, maybe even, tens of thousands of them. Not so much, the 40 boxing matches that they had where they got knocked around a little bit. And in UFC, they don't spend a lot of time, striking, practicing striking. You're more practicing defense or, jujitsu or whatever your specialty is. And if you're a striker, you're not practicing someone striking you.
Yeah. Maybe just some light sparring, but you're definitely not taking huge shots.
Because in UFC too, it's not a boxing match where if I just jab a guy to death, over 12 rounds, I can win the fight if I play good defense. I mean, if you just go out there and jab in the UFC, you're going to get taken down and you're not going to win anything by just throwing jabs. So yeah, that's my theory on why all these guys are messed up in their 50s and 60s. Very few of them aren't. And all the ones that aren't are all the defensive fighters.
Yeah, that's a good point. The card for 290 is insane. You got Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez, Brandon Moreno versus Alexandre Patoya, Robert Whitaker versus Duplessis, Jalen Turner versus Hooker, and Bo Nickel versus Trajan Gore. So all of those are very interesting fights.
Yeah, we'll have to get Parrish in.
Yeah, for sure.
Seem to like him.
Yeah, I agree. This is seriously one of the best cards in a while, so I'm really excited for it.
I mean, I know most of those names, so and I don't even pay attention to UFC very much, so it's got to be a pretty good card.
Yeah, I can't wait. And then I think the last time I recommended McGregor Forever, but I hadn't even watched it yet, and I've watched half of it now. And yeah, I highly recommend watching that if you haven't yet. Very entertaining. You get to see McGregor behind the scenes, and I don't know, you get to see a different side of him, and I definitely respect him even more.
Speaking of McGregor, did you see they had him like fake fight the mascot last game at the finals game? Supposedly, like fuck the guy. Yeah, he fucked the guy up, and the guy went to the hospital.
No way.
I don't know if I believe that. I think that's just makes the story funny. But also, I watched it, and he hit him pretty hard.
Okay.
So he might have actually fucked him up, but
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, McGregor's got a big fight coming up too. That might be late July. I'm not sure on those dates, but he's fighting Michael Chandler, and that's gonna be a fucking war.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great fight.
So yeah, right on, brother.
All right, well, yeah, let's wrap this thing up. And we went for 40 minutes. That's 2/3 of the time we usually go with Scott, and we're missing a third, so timing works out. Yeah, we just had to throw this together last minute. And Scott's the one that told us to do this episode, so thanks for handing over the keys, Scott. I hope I did well hosting in place of you, but I'll be happy when I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, he makes it seem really easy, and I wouldn't want to be on your end right now. So
No, it's not easy. He does make it really easy. He's really good at making the conversation flow. So we'll be happy to have him back. So Scott,
and his production stuff and editing, and you've been doing a lot of editing too. But yeah, both of you guys are a huge asset for our production team.
Yeah, I do. He handles all like the technical stuff, all the mics and everything. And then, well, I've been helping out with the cameras, but yeah, I'm actually going to get off here now and edit this video. So
awesome. It was a pleasure, Kris.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right. See you guys later.